This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody, welcome to Josh Has Autism.
Hello.
Oh, Josh, it has been a crazy week.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So, Nana's in the hospital.
Again.
Yeah. Well, the last time she went, she fell, so she didn't have to stay. This time, she went in because, so she has this liver disease, like we talked about, non-alcoholic liver, cirrhosis of the liver.
Yeah.
So it's, anyway, she has that, and what happens is you build up this ammonia in your body, and you've got to get rid of it. And how it will show up is if you have too much ammonia, is cognitively you cannot communicate effectively. You're not aware. You can't, for Nana, she wasn't answering us. She wasn't, So we have this sassy factor when it comes to Nana.
Yeah.
Her normal state is sassy.
Yes.
Anything less than that, something's not right.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't able to have a conversation. It got so bad that she wasn't able to even walk.
Oh.
Got her stood up to go to the bathroom. She couldn't even take a step forward to do that.
Wow.
So, also it makes this jerking motion. Like, not a shaking,
Right.
but her whole body will just kind of...
Spasm or whatever? Almost?
No, it will...
Like she goes to do a motion and it spasms instead?
It's like it's involuntary movements.
Oh, okay.
So, we know that when Nana needs to go to be, for some help when she can't communicate or walk. The other thing is, so she has a cup of coffee.
Oh, jeez.
And when, instead of sipping it like she normally would, sometimes, whoop, that coffee goes flying the other direction. And we go, oh, well,
Yeah.
that's kind of some involuntary movements there. So, anyway, it got so bad. Well, she'd also had a upper respiratory infection that she went to urgent care for 2 days earlier. Anyway, so she went in yesterday, stayed the night, and I just got back from the hospital, and the doctor said that she has to stay another night because you don't think she's well enough and strong enough to come home.
Okay.
So, and what is it? It makes me wonder about this because I know you just don't like hospitals, and you have said before that you don't like seeing people in that state.
Right.
Would you go to the hospital if it was like a positive experience, like a baby? Somebody's having a baby, and you went to see the baby?
Haley was it both of her kids at the hospital?
Yep.
I didn't like being there either time. So that specific example, no. Still wouldn't want to.
Okay. Interesting. So it's not seeing people that are not doing well.
Well, I mean, could you say that you were 100% after having me?
After having you?
Yes.
No.
Exactly.
But happy.
You were happy, yes.
Very happy. It was great.
Yeah, but I remember being fascinated that Connor could lift his head up already the day he was born.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's...
But for the most part, I don't like hospitals.
Okay.
If it's... Like, remember whenever there was a job fair kind of thing going on in Pensacola at the hospital? It wasn't for the hospital,
yes.
It was at the hospital.
Yes, I remember, yes.
It was for all the things that had to deal with autism and related things. Mm-hmm. Related disabilities. Autism-related disabilities.
Yeah, so like people, companies, organizations that offered like ABA.
Yeah.
Or any kind of...
aid. There were people that had the bracelets for radio contact for the nonverbal.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And just different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay doing something like that. It's whenever I'm in the part of the hospital where there's people staying in rooms and beds and stuff like that.
So even if it's for something
positive, I don't like being there.
Okay. Is it the smell?
Partially.
The brightness?
Partially.
Sounds?
Partially. It's just this feeling of not dread per se, but just like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No, I think it's a definite different feeling for sure.
Yeah.
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 And there's a lot of pain that goes on in a hospital.
I remember one of my favorite movie scenes that was in the hospital was what was the movie called? Death had taken over Brad Pitt's body in the movie. It wasn't Brad Pitt. He was portraying somebody else, but Meet Joe Black.
What's up with
That was the movie. It was Meet Joe Black.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Brad Pitt or was it?
I think it was Brad Pitt, and the guy that played the dad was oh man, super famous dude.
Yeah, he's played
Really?
Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, him?
Yeah, he was in the movie too.
Oh,
He was the grandfather, but of the young woman who he was trying to woo.
Oh, then I was thinking. I don't know. I didn't see the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, in any case, he goes into a hospital because she works there, and an older lady from Jamaica or someplace like that was crying out because, please take my pain away, mister, or something like that. And he said, it's not your time. Everything's gonna be alright.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it was just...
You liked it?
Yeah, it was really a good scene. But I still don't like hospitals.
Would you go with me if I used that accent?
No.
Oh. Alright.
I doubt you could pull it off.
Hey, have faith. Yeah. So Nana's still in the hospital. She's not coming home at least till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Your Uncle Tracy is here.
Yeah.
And so we keep Uncle Tracy, myself, and Pappy take turns going to visit. Your sister and the kids can't because they have a cold.
Mm-hmm.
So they're staying away from the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been difficult around here because a couple days before that she was just not really doing well.
Right. And now both kids are sick.
Yes, both kids and your sister.
Oh boy.
So, but just with colds.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to end up in the hospital.
Right.
But so Nana also has stage 4 kidney disease and a severe asthmatic, and she has a respiratory infection. So she's only breathing at 80% oxygenation without getting oxygen, nasal cannula, at 96, 97 with it. So it's pretty concerning. So she's just going to stay for a while so she gets the help that she needs.
Okay.
And speaking about getting help that somebody needs, we talked last week about you changing your medicine.
Yeah.
And how did that? How are you feeling about that whole thing?
My fingers are not numb.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
So that's good.
Yeah. Isn't so? It's weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So you went back on Vyvanse, but
at a lower dosage.
Yes, you were on 50 milligrams, and now you're taking 40 milligrams.
Yes.
And you're feeling okay with that.
Yes.
Okay. And then now the Abilify that we talked about being at such a high dose you just now reduced it to 10 because the doctor didn't want you to do both things at one time.
Right.
So the plan was to reduce the Abilify, but you brought up this,
yeah.
you know. So she said, let's do that first, address that, because it's,
Right.
you know, urgent, like an acute issue.
Right.
So anyway, so it helps, so that's good.
Yeah.
So there's this thing that you did that, okay, so when I talk to people and I say that autism is so confusing and my experience with you just keeps me guessing, keeps me on my toes all the time because I don't know what to expect. So, talked about the medication. So you were essentially a few days.
I don't really remember much from a few days after we did the podcast.
Yes, because you had this
I was
medication
asleep
change.
most of the time.
Your medication change.
Like I literally woke up for a couple meals and slept the rest of the time.
And I just wonder if you had a little bit of a virus that was going around too, and it wiped you out because all of us seemed kind of pretty exhausted for a while now.
Yeah.
I don't mean COVID. I mean the
just overall.
Yeah, like this upper respiratory thing that was going around because there have been tests. When I say that, I mean now I guess it's a pandemic. You got to say, wait, the COVID tests came back positive, so it wasn't that. Anyway.
Wait, what?
Not for you.
Oh.
For other family members. That Nana went to urgent care and they just made sure it was not COVID.
Oh, and she tested negative?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So, here's what I'm talking about. How you keep me guessing all the time. Mm-hmm. So when people ask me questions, I'm like, I don't know. It's like, what? I don't know. It just changes. So you stopped taking your medication, which is Vyvanse, for ADD.
Yes.
And typically, without being on ADD, something to help with ADD, you have a very hard time focusing and sticking to anything. Organization just is non-existent. And
so what did I do?
What did you do? You got yourself together.
Yeah.
You went up to the library. And you applied for a job.
Well, not quite in that order.
Okay.
The order of things that happened was before the last podcast. I had filled out an application at the library.
You have a jobs coach now.
Yes.
That is the same one we talked about before that we're hoping was a life skills coach.
Yes.
Organization here in Virginia is called DARS.
Yes.
And they sent you a jobs coach instead of a life coach.
Through another company that
an agency that they contract with.
Yes.
So, yes, that person met you there.
Yes. A little bit late, but yes. Because I was already filling out the application.
Right.
Like I had on my own at that meeting before she even got there. I asked them if they do volunteer work, if they allow volunteer work. They said typically no, and usually it's only for like high school students. So I was like, all right, is there any job openings or anything like that? And they're like, yeah. So they brought me back to the computer.
What's the position?
Initially, the only one that would come up was head librarian.
Okay.
And I am nowhere near qualified for that.
Okay. Yeah, I think people might be surprised the qualification.
You need at least a master's.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the job is much harder and far more encompassing than people think that it is.
Right.
There's a lot to do.
Right. Because not only are you in charge of the library, you're also in charge of everyone else at the library. And apparently there's even security guards at the library.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I wonder why you'd need a security guard at the library.
I was told that sometimes they get weirdos.
Really?
Yeah, I asked the person. Yes, was it yesterday or the day before?
And that was what they said. Sometimes we get weirdos.
Yes, that was their response.
What does that mean? Now I'm just wondering, what do these weirdos do?
But
Oh my goodness.
yeah, but so I was filling out the application, and that's whenever my life skills or job coach or whatever she is met up with me, and most of the application was already filled out from a year prior, because I had tried to do that, and then COVID hit.
Right.
Like less than a week later. Like it really hit, and everything shut down.
Yeah.
So, now that they're open again, they're trying to fill in the positions again.
They're all the way open? They are all the way open now?
Well, the library?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Okay, so that was last week.
Yeah.
But this week...
After being off the medicine and not being okay for a few days and everything, I got an email on Saturday.
Okay.
Saying, hey, we got your application in. If you would please make an appointment to take an alphanumeric test, which they didn't really go into specifics about for it, but so that we can then review your application and to see if you would possibly be a good fit.
Okay. Explain what that test was.
It was essentially ordering books by fiction and nonfiction. Like there was two different parts to the test, and it was putting things in order in fiction, where it would be by author last name, author first name, followed by the title.
Do they still use the Dewey Decimal System?
That's in nonfiction.
Oh, just in nonfiction?
That's just in nonfiction.
Oh, okay. They still use that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, on this test, they ask you to put things in order.
Yes, both in nonfiction and in fiction.
And so, how'd you do?
I forgot if the word A in a title in fiction was like the word the.
Okay.
At the beginning of a title, of where it was just ignored.
Just in fiction?
Just in fiction.
Okay. What's the answer?
It is ignored.
Okay.
I thought it was a situational thing that I couldn't honestly remember.
Okay.
But apparently it's just ignored.
Okay.
But it was by the same author as another book that was in the thing.
In the thing.
In the
test?
Yes.
Okay.
And so the other book should have come first, rather than A Walk to Remember.
So was
or
it
whatever.
one question, but you got two wrong?
Yes. Because it was all just placing things in order.
Oh, got it.
There was 45 choices.
Okay.
So because of that, and the two were in the wrong order, I got 43 out of 45.
Mm-hmm. So, how did it... So this is a big deal for a number of reasons. Mm-hmm. It's shocking that you did this with being off of your medication.
What's shocking is that I called them ahead of time to find out when I could make an appointment.
The whole thing, yeah.
This was the day prior to that that I called them. I'm like, hey, I was told that I need to take an alphanumeric test. And then the lady at the front desk was, oh, let me send you back to the computer area. Because that's where it's taken. The test is taken. And the person back there said, oh, you can just come in whenever.
Right.
Because
before Friday.
Yeah, before Friday. Because, well, it's kind of dead. So.
Because nobody there. Yeah. Right. Well, because a lot of people like me, I didn't realize it was open yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And so I said, awesome, I'll be there tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew that I was not going to be prepared to do anything the rest of that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it the next day, and I went in, and I took the test.
Mm-hmm.
And I was apparently the first and so far only applicant
Wow.
that's taken that test.
Right.
And it's been 4 or 5 days since Saturday, something like that, since that email would have been sent out.
Since Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah, today. No, it's 4 days.
4 days, okay.
So I want to ask you a couple questions about this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because typically your medication for ADD is, it's supposed to help you to focus.
Yeah.
It's supposed to help you to stay on track.
Yeah.
And I'm telling anybody that has ears that I don't care what medicine you're taking or what you're taking a break from or stopped altogether. There are times when you have clarity
Yes.
that I don't understand. That I love it.
Yes.
I can see that you're very productive when that happens, but I don't understand it. There's nothing around this situation that leads to you taking the initiative to finish part of a job application.
Right.
There's nothing about what was going on in your life, including, you just said, sleeping.
Yeah.
Including you not scheduling it for the day you, talk to somebody because you knew you were not going to be okay that day.
Right.
So there's a couple of things in there that kind of amaze me about you. One of them is, how in the heck did you do this in that exact scenario?
Yeah.
The other thing is, you recognized in yourself that you were not in a state that was for the best outcome for you.
Right.
To go and do this.
Right.
Now, there's a couple of stages in that thought process, right? It's you being in the moment, how you feel, you looking at what needed to be done or what would be required by taking this test, and you looking later on in the day and assessing how you would feel.
Right.
Again, off of your ADD medicine.
Yeah.
So, tell me how that happened. That's not just one thing that I'm amazed by. There's a number of things here.
Yeah. For one thing, it's something that I've always been passionate about.
So you really want to work at a library.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
does it feel separate than other things?
Sometimes.
Do you know what I mean by that?
I think so. But go ahead and elaborate.
You say it. You say what you think I mean.
What was the question?
Does it feel separate? Does the idea of working in a library feel separate? Or this thing that you had to do feel separate than other things in your life?
Oh, I
at
see.
the
I see. I
time?
see. Yeah.
Like almost, do you categorize things differently? The word is compartmentalize.
Yeah, I see what you mean. A bit. I mean, it's something that I've always dreamed of doing. I mean, it's been one of those things that I did it in high school, where I would work in the library at the high school while I was still a student there. And while it wasn't a paying position or anything like that, it was still a very fulfilling thing to do. And
it's like home to you.
Yeah.
A library is like home to you.
Yeah. So for me to try and get that feeling back, I guess, I think that it's not compartmentalized per se, but it's more goal-oriented than usual. Like, I have a set goal that I want, and I need to do steps to get to that goal. That's a very clear, thought out reasoning and why I need to do something and how things need to be done.
And that's different than...
Hey, clean your room.
Because that's too vague.
It's not just vague. There's so many steps involved in that I wouldn't even know where to start.
So the difference is that you have this driving passion to work at a library.
Yes, as well as the fact that there's already systems in place for pretty much everything.
Oh, so you don't... You struggle in coming up with the systems. You struggle in coming up with an order that you're going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's already in place, okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about that before.
Yeah.
If it's clear cut,
Yeah.
if there's a design in place for you to follow,
Mm-hmm.
you do better than if something is open ended.
Right.
Just in conversation too.
Right.
You don't want an open ended question.
Right.
You want a straightforward
Yeah.
question that you can clearly answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it doesn't just make it easier for me. It does, but it also makes it so that I'm not frantically trying to come up with an answer that may or may not be what someone's looking for when they ask me a question like that that's open-ended.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's very stressful for me for that to happen.
Because you don't know what they're asking?
Right. Like, I don't always know what exactly they're looking for. As an answer, I mean.
I was just talking to... Who was I talking to? It's like when I said somebody will go, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want for dinner? I don't know. And I could be a room full of people going, I don't know. What do you want for, what do you want for dinner?
Yeah.
And it might be easier to say...
What don't you want?
Or...
Give a specific thing.
It's Tuesday. Do you want tacos?
Yeah.
That would be easier.
Yeah.
I don't know. With your dad, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, it's rare that your dad wants something. Yeah. in particular.
Yeah.
So, right. So when he says he doesn't care...
He really means he doesn't care.
Yeah, he really means it.
Yeah.
But if he does want something, he'll say it. But I'm just saying that it's funny because the open-ended question is, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. Yeah. Where do you want to go for dinner? I don't know. You know?
It's a question that RJ and I have almost every day.
Really?
Yes.
That's funny. That's funny. I just talked to him today, and he's looking for a new apartment.
Mm.
So that's going to start happening here really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so tell me, how did you experience taking that test, and were you specifically, when you have an interview, sometimes that can be stressful. When you apply for a job, there's 3 different things you're talking about here. You can apply for a job, so you put in the application.
Right.
You can do some testing like you just did, and then you have an interview.
Yes. And
those 3 things I think people find very stressful, and they create a lot of anxiety.
The only reason I stress out about interviews is because other people are stressing out for me.
Okay. So
which is weird.
So if we were just going, yeah, it's a piece of cake,
yeah,
you would be feeling like it's a piece of cake?
Yeah. Because either I get the job or I don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's... I just am who I am. And if I don't get the job because of that, probably wasn't meant to be there.
That's pretty positive way to look at that.
Yeah.
And healthy.
Yeah.
So this might be different than other situations, but with this situation, it feels so comfortable to you. Are you finding that you're not nervous in the whole process? You're not
at all.
Like you just said that you're usually not nervous.
Right,
in the whole thing. But
this testing for the alphanumeric thing, I didn't really know what to expect. So I was a little bit concerned about that. but only because I didn't know what to expect.
Well, and that's why I'm shocked about this whole thing. And what I'm saying is there's something bigger going on here. And like you said, is that this might be, here's my take on it, is that this might be a new opportunity and a new situation. But you have gone over this in your head probably a million times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like working at a library, being a part of this environment. That feels so natural to you.
Yeah.
That maybe you're not uncomfortable with any of the things that are happening because you've like, been there before.
Right.
When I before I went on The View, I remember I got a lot of advice from people, from comedians that had been on TV, you know, and the best advice I ever got was act like you've been there before.
Yeah.
And I always remembered that you know, whenever I go into any new club, like you, that's my place that I want to be. It's not necessarily... Some places that I work are like you just want to get out as soon as you can.
Yeah. They're dives and stuff.
Dives. But even dives can be pretty cool.
Yeah.
They have a really cool vibe.
Yeah.
But it's that feel, it's that sense, like going and knowing that I'm going to get on stage and, you know...
Working at Hack.
Working at Hack?
Yes. No, Harrisburg Area Community College.
Oh, yes.
We actually, like, I advised Hack to hire you for a comedian job. And how many people showed up?
Oh.
Like 3?
No,
including me?
No, that's so funny. It seemed like it at first, but actually the total was that people were spread out.
Yeah.
So there's about 25 when all was said and done.
Oh, okay.
But everybody was spread out.
Yeah.
And it was in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And seriously, I work better when, you know, the sun goes down.
Yeah.
It's like that's the way it goes. Like the bright
yeah.
lights, you know, you're out for the night.
Yeah.
You know. So, but anyways, my point was that I get that part of what you're saying because two things then. That advice that I got before I went to do that show was, you know, act like you've been there before. And I think that that's great advice because it helps you to not focus on the importance of what you're doing or the feeling of importance of what you're doing. And
the gravity of it.
Yes. Yeah. And then also that this is something that you look forward to so much.
Yeah. That
it doesn't really feel scary or you know too big,
right? Because
this is something that you want.
Yeah, it's attainable.
Right. So the thing is that like I'm saying, this is one of those things that I'm amazed by. Is you don't like things that are unknown. You don't like surprises. You don't like to not know what's coming on particular days of the week, let alone something sprung on you about, you know, oh, and you need to take this test by this day.
Right.
So I'm really it sounds like you've already answered it, and I might just be not catching on to what you're saying here, but typically you feel things in your body. You're very aware of them, and you know how you feel about certain situations.
Yeah.
And is there any part of what you went through that was threw you off at all, or it was all just so focused and clear?
It was, well, to start with, trying to get the computer to actually start working again from being asleep took forever. And the person who worked there and was having me do the test.
Oh, I thought you were talking about your computer at home.
No.
Oh, okay.
The person who was having me do the test kept on clicking things to try and get it to run faster.
Oh.
And I'm like, you probably don't want to keep pressing that because it'll just open multiples of the same thing many times.
Oh. Were you right?
I was. And it just makes it run a little bit slower at that point.
That sounds like me.
Yeah.
If the first push doesn't, you just keep doing it harder. And
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Dad will tell me, stop that.
Yeah. It's because it bogs the computer down. Makes it slower. Yeah. But I don't ask me the specifics of it because I don't really know much more beyond that.
Okay.
But yeah, it bogs down the computer's processors. But so before the test even started, I'm like, hey, should I close these other windows so that nothing untoward happens? Like, let's say there's not a question of if I cheated or not.
Okay, all right.
I didn't say that part of it, but I was thinking that. But I asked her, should I close these other windows? And
Because that would be the last thing you would ever do.
Right. But so yeah, she said, oh yeah, go ahead, close the windows.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How did you feel while you were taking it? Did you feel confident? Did you feel comfortable, relaxed?
The only issue that I had was the pre-test part of it that showed you how to work the how to answer it and everything. Wasn't very clear. So like it had a mix between fiction and non-fiction books. And it was saying, place these in order. You can't. So
Because you can't intermix them.
right. So what I ended up doing was the top row I did fiction, the bottom row I did nonfiction, and put them in like that. I don't know if I got them right on those particular things, but it didn't count towards the test.
Oh, okay.
But so I got those. Like I said, I got the two mixed up. The way you input them, ironically enough, they were only one digit apart from each other as well.
Okay.
So one was 38, the other one was 58.
Okay.
So like one numerical digit. But difference, I mean.
Were they all odd like that?
Like in the top left-hand corner of each book title and number and stuff like that had a number that you'd put into a different part of it, so that it would show where that tile would go in order. And so, and you could move the tiles around in the computer and everything, so that it would be in order. But it was, I mean, it wasn't the greatest of programs to try and have you do that with.
Right.
But it worked.
So what did you do when you were done?
I was like, hey, I finished. And said, oh, awesome. I finished in like 10-15 minutes.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, which was hilarious because they give you like whenever you first click the test to get into it, to actually do the actual part of the test, gives you half an hour to do it.
Okay. Yeah, you just zip through.
Yeah, and I took my time at that.
Right.
But it still only took me 10 to 15 minutes. So it was...
So this is a part-time job?
Yes.
Do you know what that means?
Yes.
What?
It's not full-time.
Well, right. But do you know how many hours they're talking about? Like 20?
I have no idea.
32, I think is...
Yeah, it's not... It's less than 40 hours a week. That's all I know.
Okay.
Because that's the difference between full-time and part-time, I think. It's 40-hour work weeks.
Yes.
Well,
that's a typical 40 hour 40 hours is a typical full-time job.
Yes.
But it's not always that many or that few. Because sometimes people, there are some jobs out there where people are working
constantly,
80 hours a week, and I don't know how they do that. Yeah. But cool. So you're done with that part, and how long do you have to wait till you hear something?
Probably Friday. Because they said that by Friday is when they wanted the testing to be done.
Okay.
So it'll probably be Saturday again.
Okay.
That I would be getting an email or a phone call asking me, hey, we'd like you to come in if they do that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Are libraries open on Sundays?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe so. Because it's a federal thing. Because I don't think federal businesses are open on Sundays. Like the post office.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you going to do now?
I don't know.
You're just going to wait to hear. You're going to wait to hear from them.
Yeah.
Or are you going to call them?
No. They'll contact me.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you stopped. So great job doing that. It's fantastic, and I hope that you get the job.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Me too.
Because I think you'll be really happy there.
Yeah.
And is it a big library or a small one?
It's a smaller.
Was the application just for that place?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing that was vague. It was only for Newport News Library.
Okay.
But it didn't specify which one.
Okay. Do you care?
I mean, I like Grissom,
Mm-hmm.
which is the library that I took the test at.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually have not been to any of the other ones.
Because everything shut down.
Yeah.
You know, what I was going to say, it's pretty funny too, is that's one of the things we talked about when we weighed moving up here.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that you felt like life had become kind of stagnant down there, and that there was no... We tried to get you even volunteer work at a library, and there was none to be had. There were not that many libraries there.
Right.
And
that, and at the time I didn't really... I wasn't up to it. I don't think.
At times, I mean, you really went and tried to get, volunteer opportunities and what have you, and it just wasn't. When we talked about moving up here, we saw that there were, you can look up how many opportunities there are up here for jobs in the library. You can look at, how many there are, how many, where we were looking at moving, and we're surrounded by them.
Yeah.
Libraries and museums.
Yeah.
There's tons.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So if it's this one or a different one, any of them would be close enough for you. And, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So, well, congratulations on, doing what you did. we need to, I wish we could figure out what that was exactly, other than you saying that this is something that you've always wanted, and so it just stands out to you to do it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there's a way to connect that wherewithal and apply it in other situations. Do you think there is?
I think there's a possibility of it, yeah.
Would you...
I can't really pinpoint it right now, but I think that there is that possibility.
Okay. Yeah, that is the thing that, like I said, when people ask me, professionals, I would need to say, oh, he does this so many days or this so many, how often it is.
Yeah,
it was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it just happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, these golden moments just happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right. Well, I think that, that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because you've done some pretty amazing things here with the medication change. That's huge. Applying for a job, that's huge.
Yeah.
And then of course Nana being in the hospital in the midst of all this. For me, it's been a crazy week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Since we talked last, because she got sick the day that we talked last. The last time we did a podcast.
Oh wow.
Later that day, she got sick. So, anyway, I guess that's it. Do you have anything else about the library or?
I guess I can just say that if to you guys who are listening, that if there's something that you guys want to do, and really want to do it, if you feel that it's right, you should go for it. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm trying to give a motivational little thing. Oh,
sorry.
And you're pulling a hair out of your face or something.
It's on my neck. I can't believe it. Nobody ever tells me there's this one spot on my neck that I just grow this hair out of my neck for no reason whatsoever.
Oh my
And nobody tells me, "Hey, ape, you have a."
That's because your hair is so long.
Gosh.
We don't notice it.
Well, maybe, but oh my gosh, it's right there, and it's like an inch long. Why? Why would I get a hair out of my neck?
Why would you play with the hair at this moment?
I don't know, because I just touched it on accident, and then I didn't know it was there, and then I felt it, and then I know it's there now.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, back to motivation. No? Moment's gone?
No.
Oh,
no.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry. But you were saying was true, is that if you want something, don't give up hope and keep on working towards that.
Yeah.
And like everything that you've done up until this has kind of helped you to get, to apply for this job and, so.
It's not the end of the world if you don't get a job. There's always going to be more opportunities.
Correct.
And I know that sometimes it doesn't seem like that.
Right.
But it really is the case.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's a very good outlook. I think that's a very good message to share with anybody. Yeah. All right. Well, we're heading out of here for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Please check us out, SonyaKing.com, SonyaKing. You can find past podcasts and blogs and send us messages there. So anyway, could you give us 5 stars? Because that helps us out a whole bunch. If you would, we'd appreciate it.
Helps us be seen more.
Yep. Yeah. So I hope you have a happy and safe day, and we'll talk to you next week. Love you.
Bye.